Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I would show you how I utilize the ICOM 718 on the digital modes. Maybe you got one sitting around you'd like to get some use out of. Maybe you're a new guy, you don't feel like buying another rig just to do digital. This is a fairly inexpensive way to get there. Also, at the end of the video I've got some information on how to get a rough idea of how old your 718 is, so you might want to stick around for that. Let's get to it. So obviously, after you've got your 718, you're going to need a computer of some kind, and then you're going to download and set up some software. I would recommend FL Digi, which I've got running here on Field Hill. It's absolutely no signals out there. Run FT8, which everybody but me seems to be doing. After you get your computer organized, the next item that you're absolutely going to need is this, Signalink. This basically replaces or takes the place of the sound card that doesn't come in a 718. The beauty of this, having one of these, is it'll work with any rig with some messing around. For instance, when you buy this, it comes with this cable, which is unique to your radio. And then you'd use just simply a cable to input into your computer. These are generic. And this item comes with a very nice, substantial instruction sheet, about 8 pages at least. There is a header in here that needs set. You can do that with just wires, or you can buy the header from Signalink. Actually, it's called Tigertronics, the company. Very good website. Now, if you picked one of these up used, you could go to the website, buy the required cable for your radio and the header. So in looking at the prices, it looks to me like you could, at the moment, they're selling this for 120 bucks with the cables. So it looks like about 90 to 100 bucks in most cases to buy the thing used and the cables. So, you know, now I saw one that went for 20 bucks. You get one for 20 bucks, obviously you can afford to a little different situation. So after you set these items up, you're in business. And I've run this thing for several hours at a time. Absolutely stable. The radio is very stable. Some people have complained about drift. However, you know, you got these guys that modify them to get an extra 40 watts out, which makes absolutely no difference. And you get, there is one fix I saw where you insulate the crystal on one of the boards. But once again, the fellow was running the radio for 10 hours at a time or something. If you're going to do that, another ball game. Okay, so that is the basic way you can put your ICOM 718 on the digital modes. I've used just about every digital mode you can play with, one time or another. Never had a bit of problem. These radios are just bulletproof. And now we'll get into a real quick thing about what I found out on how to try to get a rough idea how old your radio is. All right, here on the back of the 718, you'll see this 4-pin Molex plug. which actually 2 pins are hot, 2 pins are ground. That is a later production radio. The radios were originally put on the market in 2000. If you look down here, you can see a serial number plate, and it says under IC 718, it says 4 pins. That's to denote that you need this, you have this type of a setup, and you need the 13.8 volt power supply. The 2 previous units, when you looked at the serial number on this starts with 42. That denotes also this setup. The previous setups, which I do not know how they were set up, are 22 and 28. The digits afterwards, the 6 digits afterwards, are production run numbers, but they do not signify a particular production date. So, the only way I could get any better on this, I bought this rig used at a ham fest. It was like brand new. I almost felt bad the guy sold it to me so cheap, but it was a backup he never used. I don't think it had 2 hours on it, and I bought it in February of 2016. So the rig's over 10 years old. They started production, like I said, in 2000. So if you see a rig with this setup, you can figure 12 years old, I don't know, but it's newer than the original ones on the market. Now, they have brought this radio back into production. It has a digital filter in it now. These, you had to buy a crystal filter, and they're very expensive if you can find a used one. That's the only disadvantage to this radio. It is not the greatest CW radio because there is no, and it's not worth buying a filter for it, let's put it that way. However, there is one way around that. I'll show you that now. All right, this was the way I got around that when this was my only radio. I purchased this new, worked great, an audio filter, but it's electronic, it's not passive, and it worked great. These are around, I couldn't even get an offer on this at the last Hamfest I took it to, so I'm going to just keep it. But there's a whole range of audio filters out there. I'm sure that they would enable you to enjoy CW a little more if you had only the ICOM rig to use. So, as I pan back around here, that about sums it up as far as using this rig on digital. And overall, my opinion of this radio, they're still a good radio. They're a good basic radio. If you don't like menus, there's very few menus on this. They're pretty easy to figure out. Now, the newest ones that they've just come out with, a filter in them. It's an electronic filter. And, you know, you'd have to look into that and decide for yourself. But when you pick one of these radios up used in good shape, and I always go by cosmetics also, because if the guy hasn't even bothered to take a rag and wipe it off, you can imagine how he treated it. Anyway, buyer beware. So thanks for watching. Give me a like if you enjoyed it, got some use out of it. Feel free to subscribe. I do all kinds of kind of off-the-wall ham videos. 73s for now. Enjoy ham radio.